Yeah, we talk about the deep state. We talk about the globalists.
Inflation versus deflation.
Well, I mean,
Here at Mar-a-Lago.
I'm baffled that this isn't front page news.
Do you guys support a specific political party, or do you dislike both of them?
Oh, it worked like a charm on you guys.
Let's go, Brandon.
What's up, everybody? Crazy freaking day. We got minutes ago, Ross Ulbricht gets pardoned. We're going to talk about that, the crazy details behind that, and you'll never guess who the main person involved in prosecuting him was. The dude got 2 life sentences plus 40 years. Do you know anything about this guy, Cam?
Is that the protester from January 6th?
No, but we're going to talk about that too. So we saw last night, Trump does he has the stack of executive orders on his desk at like 10 o'clock at night and, doing a press conference while he's doing that. And first one he signs, pardon for all the people with Jan 6, 1,500 people. But Glenn Beck was saying today that only 2 people have been released so far and that the prisons are refusing to release them. So we're going to get into that, see if that's true or not. The Davos kicked off this week, and Zelensky was saying some ignorant commentary. I won't swear it yet in the first 8 minutes. This bishop, you see the thing with the bishop today with Trump?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So we're going to talk about that. And Elon with I guess, I don't know.
It's a Roman salute. It's a Roman salute.
I know, but everybody's trying to politicize it. They're calling him, and Nick Fuentes commented on it. The ADL commented on it, so we're going to get into that. Kamala Harris, since she has nothing else to do, she showed up in the California wild site devastation zone, and she's doing some Kamala Harris things there. Pete Hegseth's ex-wife comes out of the woodwork and drops a crazy claim, at the worst possible time. We'll get into that. Dems complaining about the January 6th pardons. I mean, hilarious they're doing that, like on the heels of Biden pardoning his whole family. And then Trump, it just came out of nowhere with this crazy TikTok negotiation tactic that's super smart. We're going to talk about that. Trump taking us out of the WHO. This Operation Stargate that he announced today, where he's getting like all the tech people to like invest in AI here.
Yeah, I just saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of stuff to get into. So first and foremost, you said you don't know about Ross Ulbricht, right?
No.
So you ever hear of the Silk Road? Guys in the chat, who knows about Ross Ulbricht? Have you heard the story before? So Ross Ulbricht, you could call him an entrepreneur. He started this thing called the Silk Road in 2011. This was a dark net site. He used Tor to create it. And basically it was like where people use Bitcoin to buy drugs, and all kinds of nasty stuff ended up happening on there. But at this time, the government's starting to get real freaked out about the ability to use the dark web to kind of skirt around things, because this is like, when they're trying to clamp down on what you're able to do on the internet and everything. So they, in 2011, Chuck Schumer starts leading the way and calling for the law enforcement to investigate this and whatnot. So he calls the DEA, makes this whole public thing about it, starts having magazines publish reports about it. And he's, singing and dancing about it in Congress, making a whole big thing out of it.
What's his name? Say it one more time, sorry.
The kid?
Yeah, the guy we're talking about.
Ross Ulbricht.
All right. Keep going.
Yeah. So Chuck Schumer starts making a whole big thing about it. The kid gets arrested in 2013, and the FBI is involved, Homeland Security is involved, the DEA is involved, the IRS is involved, and he's convicted in 2015, and he's convicted on charges of money laundering, conspiracy to traffic narcotics, running a criminal enterprise, and they want to make an example out of him, so they charge him with any drug overdose or any murder or any human trafficking that would have taken place over this thing. So this thing became like a real nasty hub for like illegal activity or like dark web type of shit. So he gets sentenced to 2 life terms plus 40 years. You hear what I said?
Yeah. He's in there for his fault. Yeah.
2
times over.
Yeah, so like basically like 250 years. And it's this whole crazy thing where, like this whole libertarian movement's been rallying around him for the last 10 years. His mom's always on TV. It's like this whole big, sad, emotional thing, like where they've been trying to advocate to get him out for the longest time. And like a lot of people believe that Chuck Schumer was like one who really heavily influenced this and tried to make this sentencing as severe as possible. The judge said that she wanted this case to be a warning to others to kind of scare people out of doing this. So they, like the worst possible position you could be in is when the government wants to make an example out of you. And that's, so that's what we had here. And, but today, Trump finally pardoned this guy. So this is one of his big promises when he went to the libertarian rally. They weren't super sold on him at first, but this is like their big thing that they've cared about for a long time. So he made good on that promise today.
Yeah. I mean, my buddy had mentioned him, about the Silk Road, but I personally didn't really know about him. Yeah, keep going. I don't know if you want me to comment.
No, I mean, so so you never heard of the Silk Road or anything like this?
No, I truthfully have never heard about it.
Yeah, so like a lot of people that I know that are like come from so I actually know a lot of people who used Bitcoin back in like 2013, 2011 to like buy weed and stuff on the Silk Road. And so like I know this kid, for example, who has like all these transaction receipts where like when Bitcoin was like $40 a Bitcoin, where he's like buying weed with Bitcoin on the Silk Road. And
I bet he fucking regrets that shit today, boy.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. It's a weird thing where like they just wanted to like scare the shit out of people from doing anything like this, where they just wanted to make an example of him, and nobody's even pondered the idea of getting him out of here until Trump. So I don't know. It's just like a really big win for this community, and it's like a big emotional thing that everybody's been waiting for. So I mean, I know that community's happy, but they've been giving Trump a hard time like about these Jan 6th pardons, but we're going to talk about that later. But I mean, it's hilarious that they have the audacity to do that on the heels of Biden pardoning his whole family. And it's weird to me that
the press conference he did a little earlier, probably an hour and a half ago, he spoke about it, and the press was trying to kind of get into him, and he was like, "You guys are really worried about this. You're worried about people who protested." And he went into the Capitol but didn't do any damage. He's like, that's one pardoning. He even said that there's several people who are under review, and there's some that will not be pardoned who actually did, like damage to the Capitol. There's people who are not getting pardoned, right? So it's not just like it's a clean slate, clean blanket for everybody. He literally said it's all under review, but his goal is to get everybody. Because he was saying, well, we'll get more into it later, but yeah.
Here, so I'll play a video quick of his mom. I think she said this in 2018 when Trump was president.
Chat, have you guys heard of the Silk Road? Am I the only one that just kind of am I late to the party?
I think you're in the minority here.
Really? Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Ms. D.
My son Ross Ulbricht was given a.
Oh, let me see if this output's going to the right place.
I could hear it.
Double life
Here we go.
sentence plus 40 years for all. Mr. President, my son Ross Ulbricht was given a double life sentence plus 40 years for all nonviolent charges. He never hurt anyone. And I know that you care about fairness in the criminal justice system. Ross has widespread support in the tech and cryptocurrency communities, and I would really appreciate the opportunity to be able to talk to you further about his case.
So that's 2018. So it wasn't a hot enough thing back then. But I mean, shit, dude, like imagine that, like the helplessness you must have felt in that situation where like you're used to this assembly line of establishment people who wouldn't touch this thing with a 10-foot pole. And, you get this outsider that comes in and like they probably fully expected to never get their son out of jail, like never have the slightest chance in hell of doing it.
Well, I mean, it's been 12 years. He said 2013. So he's been in there for 12 years. He's already served.
Yeah, and like Trump was saying last night with like when it came to the January 6th stuff, like he's like, there's murderers who don't even go to jail for a year these days.
Yep. I mean, out here in Charlotte, I mean, my car got shot up, broken into, and all these people just kept getting thrown back in the street. Literally got told that by the cops. They were like, yeah, man. He goes, there's not much we could do. He's like, and the judges aren't even touching these people. They're just letting them, throwing them right back. Maybe worst case scenario, and they're making them do community service, and that's it. So that's a true statement. That's a true statement in a lot of cities.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the weird things that's going on right now. Like the things that they're choosing to prioritize with crime, and the things they're more than happy to let go by the wayside and not even touch. So, all right, so we could move on to this this Trump thing that happened today.
So before we go, there, are you for it or are you against it?
Super for it. I thought it was like straight evil. I mean, I think it was like you want to talk about lawfare. This is lawfare to the highest extent, because
100%.
they were just freaked out by the technology. Like they're freaked out by the notion of people being able to operate on the internet without the government oversight, because they set up this nice little system that they had with the Patriot Act where they could just monitor every little last thing you do. But the internet that we use, like the search engines that we use, is just like the tip of the iceberg of the internet. It's let's see, I think there's a chart even that I'll try to find it quick that shows the internet that we use versus the dark web.
Yeah, so from the chat, it sounds like it's a little bit of 50-50 where we have some people.
Should I put a poll? I'll put a poll.
Yeah, we have some. I know Stevie P said he's never heard of it. Jim's
never
heard of it.
Steve P's never heard of it?
Yeah.
I thought for sure Steve P would have heard of it. Let's see. Let me put this poll question.
Interesting. And while we're here, chat, make sure you hit some likes, some shares, share it around to people. Yeah, like Brandon says, to your friends and your enemies.
Yeah, send it to anybody who would either hate it or love it.
Yeah, hit subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Support. Thank you guys.
All right, so I just posted that in the chat. Have you heard of Ross or the Silk Road? And I'm looking for. There's this sick. Oh yeah, here it is. Here it is. So I wonder if that technically falls under the deep web or the dark web, because there's these 3 layers of it. Yeah, this chart's sick. Where'd it go? So
wow.
So surface web, like this little tip of the iceberg here, this is like Google and the search engines that we use. But then
stuff we all use every day.
Yeah, but down here, this is where the real nasty, sick, twisted shit happens.
Do you want to zoom into that a little bit? You can not really see it too well. Can you? If not, it's all right. I don't know if Check can see it.
Let me see, where was it looking like? Oh, huh. Interesting. I pulled up a different page. I got you. So here we go.
So out of 18 votes right now, it's 56-44.
All right. So yeah, this tip right here, this is what we use every day. This is Google and all the search engines that we use. Maybe a little bit of Yandex if you're getting crazy. But the deep web, that's academic information, medical records, legal documents, scientific reports, multilingual databases, conference proceedings, government resources, competitor websites. So this is like
that's people who are really digging for it.
Yeah, this is like the databases that you get access to if you're like in college or something, or the stuff that you pay for to have access to.
Okay.
But then the dark web, all the way down, like the underbelly of it, that's what he was using. Like this is the untraceable stuff where you use like the Tor browser, and like I took a class in this like a long time ago where I had to use Tor and download it, and it's
I'm pretty sure weird. You need to have like a VPN and all that, and you have to be really careful because it can't. I've heard of people who have used it. I've heard people using it for good and for bad. And as far as bad, I'm saying like to buy drugs or whatever. I've heard even people getting this shipped right to their house, mailbox dropped off, and they were good. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I wonder if Umberto's ever used the dark web before, but I remember like this thing. It's like you don't even know if you're gonna like stumble upon some crazy like child trafficking ring or something. If you like click on the wrong thing, it's a real creepy place to navigate. But there's like no oversight on it, so that's the weird part of it. And I guess it just like really hit a nerve with the government that like the notion that people could use this in a wide scalable way.
Yeah,
but yeah, so that's where we're at with the Ross Ulbricht thing. I mean, it's weird. We never really heard too much about, like, maybe they just scared the shit out of everybody to the point where nobody even dared to use it after this. But they yeah, like they wanted to like set an example. And like I said, that's the worst possible place to be in, is like when the government wants to set an example of you.
Oh yeah, I mean, another example that recently that happened was right after what's his name, the Luigi, right after Luigi, his 3 words I forget now that he says:
deny, defend, depose, or
something like that. Well, a woman in Florida, she called her insurance and they denied her access to something, and the only thing she did was say deny, defend, whatever the third one was. FBI, fucking everybody went down into her house. They arrested her and they wanted to give her like 20 plus years in jail for saying defend or whatever. They found no weapons. They found nothing in her house just for saying those 3 things, same as Luigi. They're trying to make an example out of her. That's the worst place you could ever be, is like you said, when the government is trying to set an example out of you. And
that's what January 6th was.
Politically driven, right? And it was what Trump was saying today, which is because the fact that people are more concerned with these politically driven cases, right, rather than actually focusing on things and getting murderers and rapists out of the streets and just criminals in general, right? That's not being reported on, right? But
yeah,
you're getting reported on politically driven cases. But keep going. Sorry.
No, we can't hear you yet. You got to unmute yourself, Humberto. Got it. So do we have Humberto in the chat?
All right. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes, here he is.
Okay, I had to jump in because this tour thing, and it's very interesting.
You seem like a tour guide. Chat, do you hear Humberto?
I'm not a tour guy. Come on.
So real quick, sorry, 40% have said yes, 60% vote out of 35 votes have not heard about the Civil
Wow,
War.
interesting.
And then we also have, sorry, one last thing. Nick said Trump just pardoned Luigi.
Trump just pardoned Luigi?
Is that fucking
no,
true?
That's not true.
That is not true. It can't be.
Don't be spreading misinformation in here, Nick.
Okay. I was going to say that would be wild, but go ahead, my bad.
So basically, the surface web, the one that we use every day, it's an index, all right? So like just think about a Barnes and Novels, that everything is, where you expect it to be.
Mm-hmm.
And then the deep web. And most of the deep web is like, they paint it as this like, clandestine, dark thing. Like most of the websites that we use every day, like the bigger part of them is in the deep web. All right.
Okay.
Like all this stuff what we don't usually have access to, like video servers, media servers, blah, blah, blah. It's all in the deep web. All right.
Yeah.
So what the Tor browser is,
it's all the way. Are you looking at the screen right now with this graphic?
Yeah, that's why I'm going one by one.
Gotcha.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So basically what the Tor browser does is it has a different indexing system. Like if you had to look around the dark web without the Tor browser, it'd be incredibly complicated because it works with nodes. And it's just very, very difficult. The Tor browser, like all in all, it makes your connection encrypted. It uses nodes. So like it masks what you're doing in there. And, even though, it has drawbacks, it's a lot slower than the normal web and this and that. But yeah, like it's not a big deal, and it's not necessarily evil. But what the government hates is that they can't track you there. All right. If there's one thing they do and they love is taxing you and tracking you. Those are the two favorite things.
Right.
So as most payments made in the deep web, they're done with crypto, and they're done through like secure browsers, and they're anonymous. They had to send a message,
Right.
And you don't even have to be buying anything nefarious. You can be buying a car. You could be buying, whatever it is. But since they can't trace it, they can't track it, and they can't tax it, they send this guy straight to jail. But I don't know. Personally, I think in the big scheme of things, because drugs are bad, and some of the stuff that goes on there is not good at all. It's not safe for life. But overall, I think is a good pardon, and it sets the tone of the new dawn of America.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, like the guys spent enough time there. I mean, like shit. And there's a lot of constitutional questions around the thing too. Like he got arrested in California. They intentionally put him in they tried him in the New York Southern District, which is like notoriously a super strict, hardcore district. So it's like they strategically placed him in a place to get the worst pounding possible.
That's actually illegal, Brandon. Like the Constitution said that you need to be judged by a group of your peers.
Right.
All right. Californians and New Yorkers are two type of different people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they brought him into hostile territory.
Yeah.
And dude, can you believe that freaking Chuck Schumer was the one leading the charge on this? Like he brought attention to it, and then he was the one who was influencing the prosecutor, because I guess the prosecutor of the Southern District at the time, it was originally potentially supposed to be Schumer, but Obama picked this other guy over Schumer, but Schumer still had a lot of influence over the case and a lot of influence over the sentencing. But you know, they left no stone unturned. Like they brought in 4 different law enforcement agencies, and I think they charged the kid with like any possible injury or fatality or crime that was like associated with anybody who operated on this thing.
2 life sentences and 40 years, Brandon.
Yeah, like when do you hear of that?
They threw the book at the kid.
Like you don't even hear of that for the freaking what was it? The Laken Riley. I'm pretty sure her killer didn't even get that much time.
No. And not even some like known violent drug dealers that were actually dealing drugs, running guns, get such harsh sentences. It's insane.
No, they get to work for the government sometimes. But yeah, so that's
because Brandon, if the problem was dealing drugs, we have penalties for dealing drugs, and they're not as harsh, you know. So the problem is that this cannot be tracked, this cannot be taxed, and that's what makes the government uncomfortable. That's what it is. That's the point.
And nobody else, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I haven't heard of any real big cases with this ever since this. Like, was there ever another like big giant operation like this that got this big? I don't think there was.
Well, that's the beauty of this, Brandon. It's really hard to catch. That's why they have. I'm being serious. That's when they caught someone. When they had the chance, they had to throw the book at him.
Right. Well, I'm glad to see that he's out. You know, his family's definitely suffered over the last 10 years. Like, I mean, I can't imagine like when the government throws the book at somebody that's in your family, and you know that's like they overdid with the sentence, but there's no friendlies in the government for you, and they're all super convicted in this position. But man, like what a godsend Trump has been to certain people. And
can I tell you another thing? I think an incredibly smart guy like this guy not only needs to be free, he needs to be put to work on the MAGA project.
Yeah. How old is he?
So, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm just gonna look up his age.
The actual time that the Lincoln Riley murder got was just a life sentence without parole. That's it.
Yeah. So what, a third of what this guy got?
Yeah, a third of what he got, which is crazy.
Insane. Yeah, Ross is 40 now, so shit. Like, imagine that he missed all of his 30s.
Best time.
That sucks. Well, moving on. We have this this bishop thing with Trump. Did you guys see this today?
Yeah. What sector?
So we're
Christianity is?
We're gonna get.
That's not Christianity. I'm sorry. I'm coming out strong out the gate.
100%. It's not. Yeah.
No, we're gonna get precisely into that. Go ahead while I pull this video.
What front? What fake religion is that supposed to be? Your sector religion? There's also another one from the Methodist. Progressive Methodist Church that came out, and I saw a video of just blasphemy. It was bad. It was really bad. You could actually see the face on that video. You could actually see the face of JD Vance. Like what did this guy just say? He kind of looks at his wife in disbelief. And then,
I can't wait until Trump talks about it. Is he gonna talk some shit about it?
He did. He did talk about it.
I hope he did.
The media caught up with him and asked him about it. Here, I think I have this on my X accounts. Just 1 second. All right, yeah, here we go. So this is what happened. Then I'll show you what happened after and what he said to the media. All right, so inspired by one of our buddies at work, he gave me this Bible passage, and I matched it up with this because I thought it was fitting.
It is.
1 Timothy 2:12. It says, "I do not permit a woman to teach or to exercise authority over a man. Rather, she is to remain quiet." That's not what this lady did.
In the name of our God,
I ask you to have mercy upon the people in our country who are scared now. There are
Irks me.
gay, lesbian, and transgender children in Democratic, Republican, and independent
Look at
families.
JD Vance. He just looked at us like, are you fucking kidding? Look at
Their
him.
lives.
He just raised his eyebrow like,
And the people
Disgust.
who pick our crops
disgust.
and clean our office buildings, who labor in poultry farms and meat packing plants, who wash the dishes after we eat in restaurants and work the night shifts in hospitals, they may not be citizens.
So that is
In the name
the.
of our God,
Oh, you don't need to see
I
this
ask
again.
you to have mercy upon the people in our country
Where'd this thing go?
who are scared now.
All right.
There
So
are-
then they caught up with Trump after, and here's what he said.
Mr. President, what did you think of the sermon? What did you think of the sermon? What did you think of the?
What did you think of the service?
What did you think? Did you like it? Did you find it exciting? Not too exciting. But I did think it was a good service. No. Thank you very much.
Thank you, press. Thank you, press.
They could do much better.
Much better.
So do you think they set this up on purpose to have this crazy chick like being the one who's the
I
like? Would you even call that a pastor?
No,
Right?
no,
No.
no. I mean, listen, there's a lot of there's a tolerance that is wanted to be pushed now by many religions, and I get that. And
That's kind of what's unraveling it.
Yeah, and it's like I get that, yes, but if you are going strictly by the Bible, it is unholy. You know what I mean? Like no matter what way you want to look at it, you know what I mean? To each their own and their own salvation, and you know whatever you like in your style. Hey man, it ain't me, it ain't my life. I don't care, but you know what I mean? That's your salvation. But it's just I don't know. It's changed, man. It's changed, and unfortunately, that top one has changed with this.
So I pulled up this chart. I had ChatGPT write out for me all the different sects under Christianity, which one of them is okay with gay people now, and then which one of them is okay with women being ordained. So Roman Catholic, no
True
women.
church.
Yeah, no women, no gays. Okay. Eastern Orthodox Church,
Respectable.
yeah, no women and no gay stuff. Southern Baptist, no women, no gay stuff. Lutheran Church, Missouri Synod, no women, no gay stuff. And then you get to African Methodist, they do allow women to be ordained, don't allow gay stuff. But then after that, the rest of them are on the wrong side of things. United Methodist Church allows women to be ordained, allows gay stuff.
Episcopalian.
Episcopalian, then Evangelical Lutheran, which I believe this one she was Lutheran, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So there you go. So they, as of 2009, they changed it. Weird. I mean, that's kind of when Obama started opening up the floodgates of the gay tolerance. And I mean, you know, I've never been of the position that like gay marriage should be illegal because it doesn't really affect me. But like, you know, the hardcore conservative position's always been like, all right, if you tolerate it a little bit, it's going to get out of hand, and they're going to start like pushing it on people.
Have
So-
they been wrong, Brandon?
No, they haven't been. They
wrong?
haven't been wrong. So, you know, like I think in a perfect world, yeah, like from a free, I guess, libertarian-ish standpoint, not that I'm a libertarian, like, yeah, people should be allowed to marry who they want to marry, but it's like it should be a serious, you know, thing that's condemned if they try to push that shit onto you. And then for it to infiltrate the church, that's crazy. Like what are you like, you're supposed to take everything in the Bible, like, you know, at face value, like it's the word of God. So how can you just flippantly change something, like saying that like to sleep with another man or sleep with somebody of the same sex is a sin, and then you're preaching that at church? Like, she's like, the fact that somebody who's in the role of like a pastor or a priest is preaching to the president to be tolerant about LGBT stuff, like that's so inappropriate and so out of line. It's fucking crazy.
So the United Methodist Church, I was just seeing a video the other day, straight up, one of their pastors, whatever you want to call them, literally came up with glitter, eyes rainbowed. He had a rainbow over his garments. And he comes up and he starts his sermon by saying, I am they, them, whatever.
Get
whatever
out of
his
here.
pronoun. Swear to God, I could look for that video and show you.
Yeah.
And he comes out and that's off the rip. And there's somebody who I know from a couple of years back while I was in the military, and she was a Methodist, like grew up Methodist in the Methodist church, and she said like it's really bad, and her family actually like left the religion over it. Oh yeah, there it is. He's talking about drag queen while he's giving a sermon. It's quite wild. Do you want me to send it to your phone?
Yeah. I'm trying to think of the right way to phrase this poll question. So I was going to go, should the Christian church tolerate LGBTQ? But then maybe I should say, should the church tolerate LGBTQ and ordain women? And then say, with multiple options, no to both, no to women, no to LGBT, yes to both. Oh yeah, okay, I'll do it that way. Humberto, what you got on this?
I'm coming hot, Brandon. Okay.
I know.
You said two beautiful words. You said Protestant and libertarian. All right.
Yep.
And you go like, oh, I want to take a libertarian standpoint on this. Like, neither Protestants nor libertarians ever achieved anything. All right. They never achieved anything. If you look at the church that achieved the most, it's a Roman Catholic church. Like, there's no doubt about it. Art.
Wait, what'd you say?
The Roman Catholic Church. They achieved everything. Okay. Discovering America, Roman Catholic. Art, Roman Catholic. Music, Roman Catholic. Architecture, Roman Catholic. So you see this because the thing is that what happened, and people understand what the schism of the church was. That means when the church got divided, it first got divided into the top of the list, Roman Catholic, that was the Church of the West, and Eastern Orthodox, that's the Church of the East. That was the first schism of the church. All right, they're both very respectable. I personally am a Catholic, but I do respect my Ortho bros, because they keep it respectful, and they're not making a mockery out of Christianity like these new churches.
Yep.
The thing is with the Protestant churches that they get it out of hand, Brandon.
I know.
Because if you put
too tolerant.
No, because anyone can have a church.
Right.
And they can believe the most crazy church. I'm not going to name him, and I love this guy. But he's going to church on Friday, all right?
Yeah.
Like I think Friday night, that's when he goes to church. The Bible was very clear, all right?
Yeah.
Tradition is very clear when you have to go to church. Some other type of people go celebrate on Friday, but not Christians.
Right.
And
so like, what's sacred at that point when you start changing everything?
Because this is a mockery. This is a mockery of Christianity. I'm not surprised. And whatever floated your vote, but the rules, I don't make them up. They've been around for 2,000 years, and it's not like I will disagree with a veteran right now. We'll say with Cam, it's not whatever float your vote, whatever salvation you
not
want.
with this.
No, not with this. Like there's one path to heaven, one path to hell. And the line for heaven is super long. So if you want to, if you want to muck around and have a lady with a trans flag, twisting the word of God, well, that's your choice. But you know where you're going,
right?
No, so what I'm saying is outside of the church, right? So I'm saying if you're personal, I don't give a crap about your life. If you're talking within the church, that has no place in the church. 100%. I'm on that with that.
The Bible is very specific. Like in Leviticus, I don't remember where it was exactly. It says, a man shall not lie with another man like he likes like with a woman. All right, that's in the Bible. Like there's no twisting around. It's super clear instructions. So I don't know. I mean, I don't judge anyone, and everyone can always be saved. That's the whole thing about Christ. If you turn your life around, and the only unforgivable sin, Cam and Brandon, is the hardness of the heart. All right.
What does that mean?
That means that you don't want to change your ways. That you want to keep on doing your business as you're doing it, and you're sinning, and you're gonna keep on sinning until the day you die.
Oh wow, so that's worse than murder.
It is worse than murder, because if you're a murderer and you actually repent with all your heart and you realize what you did was wrong and you repent, you can be turned around. But if you don't want to repent and you don't want to change your life around, there's nothing Jesus can do. He has his arms wide open about it.
Yeah, and like the thing with this is it's like, you know, the whole faith is based around, you know, believing what the Bible says and, you know, abiding by that. So what is the faith anymore if you're going to start picking and choosing what applies to you and like what's convenient and what's not convenient? Like, what does any of it mean if you're going to take something like that and say like, oh, no, it's okay. We'll tolerate that one. Like now, according to us, Jesus is okay with you being gay and having sex with people of the same sex. I mean, like I said, I don't want to control other people. I have no interest in controlling other people. You know, we're all responsible for what we do, but for the church to take on that position of it being okay, that just like, you know, takes the entire faith and flushes it down the toilet.
Like Brandon, you never like if you are part of a tennis club and you bring a pickleball, pickleball racket, you're never gonna make it to Wimbledon. That's what it is. Bring a tennis racket. Like we're not making you play tennis, but if you join a tennis club, you play tennis. That's what it is. All right.
Yeah.
And this is gonna get even crazier, and it gets crazy all the time. And every time the church split, it was because of these things. People that want to have it their way, they're like, oh, I don't like these other guys, they're too strict. Let me do my own thing. Mind you, like the Church of England was set so the king could divorce his wife because the Pope wasn't having it anymore. He was like, hey, I won't let you divorce again. He was like, okay, fuck it. I'm going to have my own church with broads and alcohol. And that's what he did. All right.
And that's Protestant.
That is the Church of
No,
that's part.
no, that's the Church of England.
Protestant.
And what's that religion called?
It is Protestant.
Okay.
Oh, it is Protestant?
Yeah.
The Church of England? Oh, okay.
Anything that's Christian without being under the Catholic Church is
or
Protestant,
Orthodox
right?
Church. Like those are the only two non-Protestant churches.
And what's Orthodox?
Orthodox is the Church of the East. It was the first split in the churches. All right.
That's the Martin Luther one?
No. This is the Church of
That's
the
that's the one with the guy that got his eye shot, correct? Or
yeah,
eye stab?
yeah,
Eye
Mari-
stab.
Bishop Mari.
but he's
Yeah,
an
he's
Orthodox
awesome.
priest, but it's not his church. I mean, this is a church that has thousands of years, probably as old as the Catholic Church. And they have the rights, and they had some valid theological divisions that I'm not gonna get into because it's too technical. And now they split, but they could rejoin. You know, they're not that split apart.
So it's like the Catholic Church has just been getting scalped for like the last couple hundred years, pretty much, as you were saying, right?
No, it's been split since the beginning, Brandon.
The Catholic Church has been split since the beginning.
No, I mean, you had the old church, like the original church.
The Latin Church, the original Latin Church, I believe it was 18 something. Am I right or am I wrong in that if I remember?
Oh, that's way further.
You're talking even before? Okay.
Yeah, even before.
Okay.
But yeah, it got split at the beginning, like more than 1,000 years ago.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, like
Brad, by the way, I sent you that video. I don't know if you want to show it.
Oh yeah, would you send it on text?
Yeah.
All right, yeah, let's play that.
It's pretty wild.
But yeah, I mean, Pat said it like a year ago, and he keeps saying it that one of the there's 4 groups of people that are really screwing things up, and one of them is tolerant Christians.
And I was gonna say that I love that quote from Pat.
Mm-hmm.
Tolerance is not a Christian value.
No, not one bit. But you have to protect what you hold sacred, because what does it matter if you're not going to protect it?
Yeah. And then let me trash libertarians a little bit, Brandon, now that I'm on it.
Okay, hit it.
Like their excess tolerance, because they're the most tolerant people in the planet, all right?
Yeah.
Isn't gonna take you anywhere, because we live in a society, all right? And the decisions they make sometimes, they don't think the long-term ramifications. Like I'm all for liberty, I'm all for personal, liberties. But there's a few things that once you open the floodgates, they're not good.
God.
And they've been proven time. Oh,
then you get this shit.
Isn't that a mockery? How is
God,
this?
may the words of my mouth and the meditations of all of our hearts.
Get out.
So go back to like 2 minutes. You see one of the everybody up on that board has like a color.
Scripture says, the one
Yeah,
who gathered
look at
much
that.
Oh my
did
God!
not
Look at his
excess,
shirt.
and the one who gathered little
Yeah.
did not go short.
That's disgusting.
Do you know what would happen if that was happening in a Muslim church?
Oh, they will be
They'd be
decapitated.
hung by a freaking bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah, go let it slide right
This
there.
is the word of God
Love
for
this
the
thing.
entire world.
Look at the
Thanks. be to
one's got a
God.
transgender band on them.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, good morning, y'all. My name is Russian Kimball. My pronouns are he, him, his. I have the privilege of serving as the pastor of Broadway United Methodist Church in downtown Orlando. And also my
in Orlando?
Also, my drag name is still a work in progress. So if you have any ideas, just please.
But this is the type of shit that's going to bring the rapture.
But Brandon, this is where I'm at. If this was a private event and they were making fun of Jesus Christ, good for them. Let them have it. Private building, private people.
Freedom of speech.
Freedom of speech. They can do whatever they want.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I have problem with blasphemy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I won't judge. I won't say they're disgusting or whatever. I won't judge. Let them be. They're adults. They can do whatever they want. All right.
Yep.
But making a mockery of Christ, that I'm not cool with that at all.
No, you can't even like draw a picture of Allah on a napkin or somebody. They'll all try to kill you, but then they're doing this shit.
Yeah,
that's insane. I mean,
it's not that insane, Brandon, because it's a provocation towards people that actually believe in Christ.
All right, good. We have a nice based chat with us tonight. So I put in the poll: should the Christian church tolerate LGBTQ and ordain women? Yes to both had 7%. No to both had 80%. Ordained women, yes. LGBTQ, no, had 12%. And then LGBTQ, yes. Ordained women, no, had 2%. Weird that yes to both had more than. I think those are people trolling though.
And then Brandon.
Yeah.
At least on the Catholic Church, technically, a priest could feel gay, like he could feel that he's a gay man, but since they have to enforce chastity, that they can't act on their sexual urges, he could be a functional member of the church,
right? As long as he doesn't act on it.
As long as he hasn't act on it, because there's a path for redemption for everyone.
And a lot of, correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't a lot of priests gay because they take that life to like avoid the their natural inclination to go and sin in that way?
I wouldn't say that it's a lot, but if there's some of those people
that's a very strong statement that I wouldn't.
By me?
Yeah, I don't.
I've heard a lot of people say that. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah, because there's like all that scandalous stuff that happens, but
yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, but anyways, I don't know if it's a lot, but if they're keeping the chastity, the thing is that people, and I'm gonna get super like preachy here. The thing is, people don't understand the greatness of Christ. Like, even if you're sitting there in the chat and you think you're a piece of shit, like every time I go to church, like all I can think is like how dumb and evil I am the whole time. All right, I'm dumb, I'm evil, and dumb, I'm evil. But even if you're sitting there, and it doesn't matter what your lifestyle is, what you're doing, what you want to stop doing, like Christ will forgive you if you seek for forgiveness. It doesn't matter. Like you can be doing right now, whatever, you will be forgiven.
Beautiful. And on that note,
Castro said,
good.
Castro said it perfect. Catholic, Protestant, Methodist, etc. All religions that believe in Christ as King should not object to each other, but unite in Christ as King. Yeah, but even then, it's kind of like we're talking about. I mean, can you unite with Methodist Church? Hell no.
Well, speaking of not being forgiven, it appears that Trump does not forgive John Bolton for his.
Yeah. I see this. Yeah.
You like that? You like that?
Yeah, that's good. I like.
So, Trump revokes John Bolton's Secret Service protection as effective today. So, you know about this guy? I know Humberto knows about this guy. Do you know Mustache Man?
So he betrayed Trump, and if I believe it was, I just seen the whole thing about it today.
Well, when you go in the dictionary and you look up the term military industrial complex, his face is next to it.
Yeah. And then he took Secret Service off of him when he's
I don't know if he did that. I don't think that is his position, but he was what?
He's an ambassador? No. What was he?
He was Trump's national security advisor, I believe.
There you go.
Yeah.
And then he took it off him. Biden put it back, and now he comes in, he takes it off. Secret Service. I thought that was great. He's I still don't forgive him.
But yeah, this guy is like the biggest slime ball out there. Like he is straight military industrial complex lobbying. Like he hates Trump, but the biggest thing that he criticized him on is not increasing military spending enough. Like you can't hear two sentences come out of this guy's mouth without hearing that we need to increase military spending. But this brought up an interesting question. Like I was like, I wouldn't have assumed that a guy like John Bolton, former national security advisor, would have lifetime Secret Service protection. So I said, who else has Secret Service protection for a lifetime? It turns out Mike Pompeo, former Secretary of State, Brian Hook, former U.S. Special Representative for Iran, Anthony Fauci, and a whole lot of other people that I wonder if they would take the same route with, because I mean, I know it's always pissed me off that Fauci has like a big Secret Service.
I hope he takes it off him. I mean, that's the only thing at this point he could do to him, and I would do exactly that.
I don't think that'd be wise
to take it off of Fauci.
Yeah.
Why?
Oh, interesting. Okay.
If anything happened to him, all right, that'd be a terrible look.
Well, something happens to Bolton.
No, but Brandon, listen. I mean, Bolton does something else, but not either, Brandon. All right, because if anything happens to them, it's gonna be a shit show, and it's not a good thing. Like we still like a first world country, Brandon. We can't have people get murdered.
So what's the line though? Like, who should actually have Secret Service protection? Because it's not like we have
taxpayer money. It's taxpayer money that's paying for that.
Right, and that we don't have a lot of Secret Service agents. Like, obviously, there was a big shortage of. They couldn't talk about it enough. How we barely had enough people to protect Trump. So, like, how many do we have to just dole out to people with, that were national security advisor and Secretary of State and who worked in the health industry?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like what's the line on who should have this for life?
I think that's still big. Big people, big personalities they've been involved in politics. They should have it. And I'm not a Fauci fan at all, Brandon. But there's a bunch of crazy guys out there.
So you're in favor of Fauci having it?
I am in favor.
But what's the line though? Because I mean, it's not like, let's see. I'll look it up. How many Secret Service agents we have? How many Secret Service agents?
I don't think that actual number is going to be public.
I think it's gonna be 8,000.
Yeah, I mean, that's
so 3,600 special agents, 3,600 special agents, 1,600 uniformed division officers, 2,000 administrative personnel. So yeah, not a lot of people.
All right, let me.
I mean, every ex-president and their family gets one, don't they?
Right, exactly.
Or still living ex-presidents, whatever.
Let me give you a scenario.
Okay,
Brandon. Okay, he got pardoned by Biden. That I'm a very against that pardon. All right, because I think it would have been fair for him to face justice.
Mm-hmm.
Right, but I mean, I'm also a big fan of the Constitution, and that was President Biden's constitutional right to do it. All right.
Yep.
Are we agree until there?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I think that lack of justice will get people riled up. So if he gets his security detail taken away from him and something happens to him, they're gonna put it on Trump.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
I do. What if he says that there's a shortage though, and they needed it for other people like his family?
If anything happens to him, they're gonna put it on Trump. There's no way around it.
Why would it have to be put on? I mean, I agree with you. That's the way the media would spin it, and that would be the tall tale story. But don't you think there's plenty of pissed off people right now?
Oh, that's why he
love to.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Without whether it be in Trump or not, you know what I mean? I mean, here's the other thing. I think this is my take on it. I really think it should be offered up to the people, to those politicians and political figures. But if you want to do it and you're no longer in that role, or if you want the Secret Service, you should have to pay for it with your own money. It shouldn't be a taxpayer's money that should be paid for. It should be coming out of your own pocket. If you feel that you need Secret Service detail, pay for it. Go for it. I don't care anymore. But you're saying taxpayers' money? No, 100% not. No, you go ahead and pay for it. It's an option. Here how much it is monthly. This is how much taxpayers pay for you to be safe every single day in and day out. This is how much you'll pay us every month, not the taxpayer money.
Right. Like, think about how much of a cuck move that is. Like, the person is so hated by the people who pays for the Secret Service that we have to pay for Secret Service for them.
Yeah, no, exactly. And if you're looking at what Trump is trying to do with Doge and all that, that should be an option. You know what I mean? Hey, you want Secret Service? Here's how much it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we should be able to vote.
Enough of us paying for all these dumb little things that should be. I mean, I think it was in South America, and if I'm not wrong, Umberto, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if it was Argentina. I don't know if it was Chile. That really humble president. He's like 90 years old. He's got his own car. It might have been him.
No, that is
Uruguay. Yes.
He's a fucking socialist.
But one of the presidents took away all security from any political figure. Security, because this literally said it shouldn't be a taxpayer's money thing to pay for it. You decided, you signed up to do a public service, right? And if the end result, you knew, JD Vance said it. He goes, listen, my life turned like that from that phone call. And me and my wife had to sit down and talk about all the consequences and what came and how our life would change for the rest of our lives. You made that call. You answered it. That's what you devoted. And you know the risk of what happens. So now you want us to pay for it for the rest of your life? No, fuck that. Taxpayers.
I agree. I'm a tax conservative. I dislike Fauci very much. But as things are too heated, you know, like even if he committed all these crimes and whatever, he did get pardoned, and we need to go back to being a first world country where we don't solve things with violence. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He will die. Like, he doesn't have 20 years in him.
Bolton or Fauci?
Both. What? 30 years max? How long are you think they're gonna?
I mean, yeah, unless they have like access to the good shit, but probably not. They're not that rich.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I guess I'm just more vengeful, I guess, because even if something did happen and Trump did get blamed, like, is he going to feel bad about that? Because my initial thought with this was, does he feel that this guy had something to do with him having inadequate security? Because, you know, when you talk about the deep state cabal, like the circles of people within government that benefit from the massive military spending, the stuff that Trump wants to put an end to, it's like John Bolton, James Clapper, John Brennan, what's his name, General Milley. So I don't know. My initial thought was like, I wonder if Trump put some pieces together that he hasn't spoken about yet publicly, where like this guy was for some reason responsible for what happened to him.
Maybe, but
I mean, like,
this is a fast move. This is day 2, so it's like he's been thinking about this for a long time.
Oh yeah, he's probably done he's had the lawyers since the moment he got in. He was good to go, talking about drawing up all this. I mean, if you look at the picture, he had like 30, 40 books all stacked up in front of him, all executive orders. You know what I mean? But I mean, listen, if you're an active member still serving the public, right? Yes, at that point, yes, you should be able to get your Secret Service, right? You're actively doing it right then and there, right? You're actively serving. It's just like if you work any job and you have health insurance and you have that, whatever it may be, right? So that's a right to your job and your job title. Yes, as far as you're active, right? You're still in service. But when you're out of it, right? If you're out of it, then you have the option to pay in for it. Right. And then the other think about this, right? Do you think people would do such shady shit and do such shady deals, right? If they knew that they would have to pay for Secret Service afterwards, or if there's a risk of once I get out, oh man, I might not have Secret Service. I might not be able to afford Secret Service. Right. So then there's a risk factor. So do you think people are going to be like doing such shady shit if at the end of the day, when they're done at their time, are they going to be like,
100% agree. 100% agree.
These people were able to do all this shady shit, and not just Fauci. I'm talking about all politicians, right? And anybody involved, right? And if you're in it, do you think you're not going to contemplate, man, should I really fuck this person over? Should I really sign this deal? You know what I mean? Do I really want to fuck over my, as the Senate, do I really want to fuck over my state? You know what I mean? So don't you think if there's a little more consequence of getting out and not having Secret Service, you ain't gonna think twice about it? Fuck yeah, damn straight.
100%.
Damn straight. It was.
Now to close the topic, I think the place he will be the safest would be in jail. You know,
Yeah.
Safest from what? Safest from what?
safest from everything. I think it should be in
Even
jail.
getting the train.
Huh?
Mhm.
Even getting the train ran on him.
Well, he'd be the safest in jail because we're not
Because he'd be
Uganda.
somebody's bitch.
We're not, you know, like whatever other countries like this America. We don't do vigilante justice, and even if he has it coming, I don't agree with it. So I think he should keep his security.
Okay, well that's a very forgiving, beautiful thought, and I respectfully disagree. I
It
would
looks bad in America, Brandon.
I'm
It looks bad in America.
a disagree on this one as well.
Yeah,
Sorry, nope.
I have revenge in my heart. Sorry.
Alright,
Yeah,
same here.
you do me
Yeah.
wrong. I'm gonna take away your Secret Service.
I mean, he did it to what's his face, and why not do it to Fucci? You know what I mean?
Right? Yeah.
But go ahead. I know you got more topics. Go ahead, Brian.
So many more.
If we don't talk about the World Health Organization, I'm out.
Should we do that or Davos next?
Do you have anything good on Davos?
I have some bullshit that Zelensky said, but and then some shit that what's his name? Your boy Olaf said.
All right, let's warm up.
Oh, you talking? Yeah.
You want to do some
Weird.
Davos?
Yeah, let's
freedom
double
of
down.
freedom of speech, as long as you are on the same page as us.
Let's see which is the right one. Let's go with here. Let's go with this guy.
The chat is making
Right
fun.
now,
It's what?
all eyes.
It's making fun how Camps is Fauci.
Hey, ESL baby, ESL.
They're spelling it Foochi.
Nah.
Fucci.
Yeah, if somebody just came in without knowing about it, they'd have no idea who you're talking about.
On Washington. But who's actually watching Europe at the moment? That's the key question for Europe. And it's not just about ideas. It's about people, first of all, about how they will live in a world that's constantly changing. 20 hours ago, President Trump's inauguration took place in Washington, and now everyone is waiting to see what he will do next. His first executive orders have already shown clear priorities. Most of the world's now thinking, so what's gonna happen to their relationship with America? What will happen to alliances, to support, to trade? How does President Trump plan to end wars? But no one is asking these kinds of questions about Europe. And we need to be honest about that. When we in Europe look at the United States as our ally, it's clear they are an indispensable ally. In times of war, everyone worries, will the United States stay with them? And every ally worry about that. But does anyone in the United States worry that Europe might abandon them someday, might stop being their ally? The answer is no.
He sounds like a villain.
Washington does not believe Europe can bring them something that is really substantial.
They
So-
haven't in 60 years.
Yeah, I know. Because sorry, you just stopped building military equipment and adding to your military because you just leached off of us.
I have such a good one. I'm fucking. Go ahead, keep going.
No, go ahead. I mean, that's just pretty much it. Like, if you look at the numbers, like all of Europe has done nothing with their military
Nothing.
since the end of the Soviet Union collapsed.
So when I was on my way out, and I have this story also confirmed from an actual British guy when I was in Copenhagen. So on my way out of the military, we were on this detail, whatever detail it was. A colonel comes over and he's just kind of talking with us, and he's talking about how so in the military they'll do like trades. So a colonel will come here and a colonel will go there. A general will go there, a general will come here, and it's sergeant majors will go there, sergeant major will come here. And they kind of do like a shadowing of seeing how they operate, how their training is going, what they're doing. And very common. And all different MOSs and things like that. But obviously we're an infantry unit. And God, I can't remember what day or year it was now. It's been forever. But so anyways, on my way out, and this colonel's kind of talking to us. He just started telling us like, yeah, I just came back from Europe. We were on a detail, I think, whatever. So we were on a detail, whatever. And so he ends up telling us that he just came back from England, and that England had literally told him to his face that they were going to they were shutting down more fleets. They were taking the money out of their resources, out of their navy, because they said they weren't afraid of anything, any naval warfare, because they knew the United States would come and the United States would handle it. So they pretty much said, hey, we're going to let you spend all the money. We're going to let United States just rape the system. And you got it. You know what I mean? So we're going to save money and you got it, US. You know what I mean? And that's very so much the European Union's attitude. And again, earlier I saw another interview between Trump and kind of the world, the Health World Organization.
Yeah.
And he kind of spoke about it there, and the Paris agreement, the deal, whatever.
Paris Climate Accord. Yeah.
That's another one where it's just prime examples of Europe taking advantage of the United States, and the United States is reaping zero benefits. And at the end of the day, the only thing we do is that we waste taxpayer money. And we're the ones that our debt and our ceiling continues to raise and raise while everybody else is able to maintain theirs. I mean, their economy is also the shit in many ways too, but still, they are able to use their own taxpayer money for other things while we are just continuing to get into debt and more in debt. But keep going, sorry.
Well, no, you're and I mean, that's the whole globalist thing. It's that there's this systematic effort to try to take from the strongest and most powerful and give to the less fortunate to kind of balance everything out, because you can't have globalism or a one world government the way you really want to do it if America's this much stronger than everybody else, because every time you get a nationalist president, you kind of like buck the system and buck the momentum that's pulling you towards the globalist thing. Like, you know, everything that Trump does is anti-globalist, pro-nationalist, like doing things that are in our best interest. And like, I mean, it's not even really a theory. It's just like based off policy decisions and like the result of the like presidents before him. I mean, like Humberto, like who's the last nationalist president before Trump? Like the last true nationalist. I mean, not Biden, obviously, not Obama, not George Bush Jr., not Clinton at all. Clinton's like the opposite. Not George Bush Sr. George Bush Sr. is like the father of globalism. Probably Reagan. Reagan was I guess compared to those guys, much more nationalist.
He's the last one that really also used tariffs, if I'm not wrong. Am I correct?
I think he was the last Republican, but I don't think he was a nationalist.
No, but I mean, like closest to Trump out of all the guys in between.
Man,
because like basically, if you're doing things that are conducive to economic growth in the United States or strong military in the United States, that's nationalist in my opinion. You know what I mean?
I know.
And then so where was I going with that? That's really what it is. Like there's this systematic effort to kind of siphon off our strength and like feed the rest of the world with it to kind of even things out. But I mean, so this also happened today too. This just popped into the back of my head and it kind of coincides with what we were talking about. So really went under the radar. Putin comes out and says this today.
We're also open for dialogue with the new U.S. administration on the Ukrainian conflict. The most important thing here is to eliminate the fundamental reason for the conflict. That's the most important. And as for settling the situation itself, its goal should be not a brief ceasefire, not just getting some time to regroup and rearm and carry on the conflict, but long-term peace based on respect to lawful interests of all people and nationalities living in the region. And of course, we're going to fight for the interests of Russia and its people. This is actually the goal and point of the special military operation.
Special military operation. But yeah, so I mean, he's speaking the language of somebody who wants to wrap this thing up.
Well, I think he hasn't been so successful. I think he thought he was going to be done a long time ago. He thought he was going to walk down, march on down. They were just going to give up. You know what I mean? And he thought it was going to be the easy sweep for him. I don't think he thought it was going to be this long.
I've heard that theory, and I've also heard the theory that Russia's going easy on them right now. Like you're listening to Douglas McGregor, Colonel Douglas. No,
no fucking way.
So you think they're using all they got right now?
Oh, dude, I think they're beyond their means at this point. I think they are struggling. I think that this has come back. I mean, there's many. I mean, here's the toughest thing, right? No matter what. Now, this is another thing, right? If we think, or if we know that within the United States, our own news media, right, has lied to us, gives us 20% of the truth, whatever, right?
And they banned Russia's news sites from posting stuff in our territory.
Exactly. So we know all these things. Now, don't you think that European news are going to come back and not give us the full truth, or European countries aren't going to give us? And then we're stuck with propaganda. Ukraine had its own propaganda. I remember at one time, I believe that in the end, remember that one jet fight, that jet
Ghost
fighter
of
back
Ukraine.
In the day? Yeah, the Ghost of Ukraine.
I had like a million view video off of that.
Yes,
fake as fuck.
It ended up being fake as fuck. So again, you have their own psyops, you have their own propaganda that each side is bringing out. One side saying I'm doing good, this side saying we're not, or you know what I mean, whatever. So at the end of the day, I think it's hard, but I in all truth and reality, I think it's been a struggle for them. I think he's gotten a lot of opposition from it. The people have gone and protested this war multiple times. You know what I mean? So I think it's gone more south for him than he thought it would be.
What do you think of her? Are they using their full strength?
Can I add to it?
Yeah.
Like,
Jump
brought
in.
a really good point. And what he said is in the numbers, Brandon. To rebuild, because they're first of all, nobody wants to join the army or the navy in England. Nobody wants to join. Yeah. Right. It will take 15 to 20 years, all right, to rebuild the British army. I mean, the British Navy to have a modern, balanced fleet. Not even a great one, just a modern, balanced fleet that is manned. All right. 10 to 20 years, and the army might take up to 25 to 30 years to be rebuilt. The British Army. All right.
Yeah.
Germany, it might take them 50 years to rebuild an army. 50.
Germany.
Why? Because they're starting to militarize again.
But why is it going to take 50 years?
Because Brandon, they have no bullets, they have no tanks, they have no guns, they have no personnel. Because they've been relying heavily in America. Like that was the strategy. You know, like we can get into military doctrine, but most allied countries, they do one thing really well, you know, and that's all they do. They don't have a full, they can't take care of themselves. All right. So for example, the British have a really good navy. Like they will send American troops to do all the marine work, all the army work, and they will hold off the navy work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they rely 100% on America. And what he said is just offensive. Like he talks to the president like if he was the president of the world. Like last time I checked,
Zelensky? Yeah, with this fucking entitled attitude. Like, who are you?
He was the president of America guy. All right. He, you know, and he was very honest. He was like, this is America first and fuck you guys. All right. That's what we're going to do. That's the plan. All right. And everyone was like, all right, I'm on board. You know?
Yeah.
It's just insane how entitled these Europeans are. And let me tell you one thing. The best Europeans are here in America. You know, the hardest working, the guys that, you know, were like, okay, Europe is fucked, you know, they were ahead of the curve and they left here. All right.
Yeah.
And all the other brave Europeans are dead. After 2 world wars, everyone that had an ounce of testosterone was killed. Yeah. So whatever is left behind in Europe is French guys.
And French guys are the worst.
They're the worst. They're the worst kind of people.
They're raised by women for like 60 years straight.
Yeah. How do you expect to have an army if you like weeded out all the, you know, fighting men that had, you know, fight in them? Because fighting is it comes in genetics, you know.
Oh yeah, you're either capable of doing it or you're not. Like
you're not. Like it's not that everyone can be a war fighter. All right, it takes a special set of skills and a special set of cojones.
Cam, when you were overseas, was there anybody who like just totally like froze up and had like a kind of a mental breakdown when things seemed tense?
Yeah. Oh, you're saying
you hear what I said?
Yeah, 100%.
So yeah, on the topic of like having the like, you know, because your adrenaline goes 2 ways. Like either you're more fearless or more fearful when like
well,
the adrenaline
when they
spikes?
say it's fight or flight, it's a real thing, and
Right.
you
And
will see fear in a real man's eye, and it's actually quite terrifying to see when that person does go to that place.
So I don't know if you've ever talked about on here before. You had like the close call scenario. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, sure.
So talk about that and like talk about like the contrast in people who were, kind of brave in that moment versus the people who kind of, shrank a bit in that moment.
All right. So 2019, I was in 82nd Airborne Infantry. We got deployed instant response force. We were activated and deployed on the boots in Kuwait. I believe it was in 16 hours. That's
4 p.m. for people. 1,600 hours, you said?
No, 16 hours it took us from activation to assembling, to getting all your gear, deployment gear, to getting on the C-17, all the way over to Kuwait. And then once we got to Kuwait, I don't know, we were there for 24 hours. And then from Kuwait, we got on a C-130. We had a pit stop in Germany, and then we went to Iraq. We went to Camp Taji. Actually, I have a poster here. Right here.
Nice.
Baby.
Look at that.
That's
Yeah.
us being activated.
Platoon.
Yep. We were at my battalion, my company. We were spread out through Union 3, which was in Baghdad, where Saddam Hussein's bathhouse was, where he actually got murdered. We were also at Taji, majority of us. 3rd platoon was set to I don't know, another base, and then 1st platoon was set to Union 3. This was 2021, 2019. This was right before the pandemic. It was, I believe, right around Christmas was when Iran militia groups hit the U.S. Embassy. That was there in Baghdad. And yeah, we got deployed. We got there our mission was to deter war, stop war from happening, World War III, essentially. When we arrived to or war with Iran, which at that time the Russian president went full on to say that Iran had the full support of Russia. It got very, very heated, very, very intense. I mean, at that point, we had Navy ships coming, and they were off in whatever Gulf Coast is over there, and we had tanks coming in. I mean, this was getting charged up to be. We were going to be the spearhead of World War III. We were going to be the first one in. Like it was crazy. It was all last minute. I mean, 82nd is IRF. They still continue. Every brigade takes turns with it, and we were the ones that were on it at that time. We got activated. You do drills on it every single couple months or whatever. But once we got there, once we got to Kuwait, that's when their special forces general, their big general, got I don't remember. Do you remember?
Soleimani.
Yeah, him. He got schwacked when we woke up in Kuwait. And so at that point, we were like, holy shit, like this just got amped up that much more. And so before we got there, the briefing we had was, I don't know, 30, 40, 50,000, whatever the number was. Don't really remember now. Several thousands of soldiers and militia groups were ready to attack Camp Taji, Union 3, and the other base we had. I'm trying to think of what I can and can't say. Sorry.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm pretty sure I can say the majority of this stuff. I hope
It's
so.
not like anybody's watching.
Yeah, I can say the majority of the stuff. So, there's details I'll leave out. But so we wake up in Kuwait, and it was just like, oh, dude, this is it, right? Like, this is it. We're really about to. We just killed Salami, Salami, whatever his name is. Don't care.
Yeah.
He's fucking dead. I don't give a shit. But so essentially, he was the spearhead of it. He had the whole planned out. And let's say it's Tuesday, and we're expected to get hit Thursday or Friday, right?
Yeah.
And so we woke up in Kuwait on Wednesday, and we're like, oh, we just got hit. We just hit Salami, and then Iran goes and says there will be repercussions for this.
Right.
So we're like, oh shit, here we go, right? So then we get on the C-130. Anytime you're going into a hot zone, a war zone, you do an emergency, no matter what, even if you're not expected, you do this emergency dive. And so if anyone knows the C-130,
Yeah, I'm pulling it up.
Pull up a C-130. We're all squished in there. We got all our rucksacks, all our gear. And yeah, so C-130s.
That's where the door opens up in the back.
That one does, and the C-17 actually is bigger. That's a C-130. You were just looking at a C-17.
Which one you want?
C-130. That. So essentially, a C-130 is more smaller. Like, it looks huge, and it is a big fucking plane. But like, we had all 3 platoons in there, our company.
Damn.
And we literally, from a plane, I don't know, whatever normal height is, and they have to fly slightly lower or whatever, and then it pin drops, like nosedive onto the airfield, and literally you're like, just get ready, and then you're just like, oh shit. And so we nosedive down, and man, a lot of it's like a movie to me in my head, but we got to Taji. We had our intel, and so kind of just on high alert, man. We're just on edge. You know, we're no Thursday or Friday is going to be the big attack or whatever. They're going to come for us. And then first platoon and third platoon get dispensed. Second platoon, my platoon, we were there at Taji with the rest of the battalion. And brigade ended up being there, but our battalion was first there. The rest of the brigade, I believe, was at Kuwait, and I think just our battalion was there at Camp Taji, I want to say. Our battalion commander ended up being an OG, just a straight gangster. He was actually talking with the Pentagon, and allegedly it was said that he talked to Trump.
Oh, shit.
And so he got told that we had the full support of all the agencies, and like that was like the thing, right? So we're like, that sounds really cool, and it is cool, but at the same time, it just made it just that much more severe for us.
Yeah.
And so whatever, 2-3 days passed by, whatever it was, and then I'm on the radio. I'm on the radio with my buddy, my team leader, one of my best friends in the Army, and I won't say his name, but so I'm on the radio, and we get over the radio 12
0. Are you looking for time?
No, yeah. So it's at 23 hours. We're gonna get hit by missiles. And I remember I'm on the radio, and I'm like, what? I'm like, what? I was like, I go over the radio. I'm like, repeat. And my buddy, and he goes, what? That's not radio talk. Give me your phone. I was like, 2300 missile attack. And he's like, what? And he's like, give me. So he goes on the radio. He's better at talking on the radio. And then he's like, well, grab your shit. Go let our command know. And I was just running, and I remember like it was just very, very surreal, very like I don't know. I mean, like, I just didn't know what to really think. You just do, you know what I mean? You just go, that's the job, you know the risk that was going to come, and then let our command know next people for the next watch come in, and I go in and I'm hanging out with my roommate, my buddy, and plebs, and I come in and I'm like, hey, we got like 3 hours until we're just gonna get fucking rained on by missiles, and he's like, oh, okay. Like, it's a very weird thing, because at that point you're potentially a couple hours away from dying, right? And we're just like, well, no matter what type of protection you have, I mean, if the missile hits you, you're going for it. Yeah, I kind of just, so you would work. So what, in IRF, you're not allowed to bring your phones on deployment, and I ended up chopping it up, talking to the guy next to us. He's a contractor that's out there doing some Intel stuff or whatever, computer stuff. And he ends up giving me one of his phones. And so I was the only guy with a phone on Facebook talking to my mom.
Oh yeah, I remember that when you texted me on Facebook Messenger.
Yeah. And I'm messaging, I'm messaging people, and like it was wild. I was the only one that had that. Outside of that, you had like a little time to go call your family, and you just kept telling, hey, I'm good. And I really wasn't saying anything. I was just like, hey, I love you. You know what I'm saying? Just getting all my love yous in there. You know what I mean? To the people
like,
I
I haven't heard from him in 3 months. He's not supposed to have his phone.
Yeah, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm like, hey, man, just check the news. That's where I'm at, and I love you. That's kind of what I said to a lot of people. And I just kind of spent those hours doing that. And then I kind of told my mom, my dad, I was like, I love y'all. Thank you for everything. It's just, I'm going to go dark for a couple hours here and just keep up with the news, right? And so then a buddy knocked. Okay, so
no, I was saying, what was the difference like between like people who were like freaked out by it and like people who embraced it and were just like,
so that's what I'm getting to. That's what I'm getting to right now.
Okay.
So whatever, a buddy knocks on the door, and he's just like, hey, you guys do know we're all right. So we were told 01. It was 1 a.m, so we had a couple hours, whatever. But then it ended up being at 2300. And so our buddies, I've been there for a couple hours, 2 hours, whatever. And my buddy knocks on the door, Kyle, and he goes, hey, man, he goes, you guys do know there's like 15 minutes we're going to get hit with this missile. And we're like, what? So we put on all our gear, we get our weapons, everything. And as we're putting on our gear, you just hear,
man.
Here's the wildest part. So that was at that time, I believe it was Norway or Sweden was actually in charge of Camp Taji. Okay. British forces were there. Other allied forces were there, Norway, Sweden, I believe. And so we were the only ones that knew what was going on. Okay. So a lot of people actually didn't get out of their rooms because they didn't even know what was going on. Some people were deep, like just knocked out, not even knowing what was going on. Right. Yeah. Some people probably thought it was indirect fire, you know what I mean? And just were sleeping through. Not a lot of people knew it was. And so, so then whatever, I ran, I booked it, I got to the bunker. And so that's where you kind of see what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I remember it was just kind of like, I remember this very vividly. We got there and I looked at my doc, and I don't know why I said this, but it was that I looked at my doc and I was like, the only thing that came to me was, hey doc, should I put on ear pro? It's the weirdest thing, but it was just like, should I put on ear pro? And my doc was just kind of like, if you want, you know what I mean? Yeah. And so the guy, I believe it was our first art or somebody else, had the radio and was like, all right, guys, 1 minute. And, we're just kind of like, here we go, dude. I was like, well, you say your last prayers and everything. And then next thing you know, it's like 10 seconds, boys. Nice knowing you.
Yeah.
And you're just kind of there. You're just like, okay, cool. But when you look around, there's people that are dead silent. And you kind of hear people like, oh, my God. People are freaking out. One of our buddies said 3 things I don't fuck with: condoms, rattlesnakes, and missiles. And then somebody in the back, National Guard was there, and so she goes, "Oh my God, what did he just say?" And so then, yeah, man, then you just felt the big thump, and you knew there was more coming. I don't really know exactly how many missiles ended up. I don't remember how many missiles actually ended up hitting us. I do know for a fact a lot of missiles did not. Our defense system did actually block them. Union 3 did not get hit. I forget the other one. The one that our third platoon was at, they did get hit a couple times. I believe 3 missiles got hit that spot. Our missile, the one that I know that for sure hit, was about about a football field away from us. About 100 yards. One of our buddies, actually, he was passed out. Somebody went and knocked on his door because he wasn't on the bunker. And he tells the story that as he was coming out of his room, he's just pissed off. He's like, fuck this bullshit, like whatever. He just put it on his gear, and then he saw the missile drop and then explode, and he was like, oh shit. And then he started to the bunker. And then so right at that, it's like, okay, it's game time. You know what I mean? And that's the zone I got in, and we were just let's go, it's ready. You know, you got your rifle on your hand already. And then we kind of all assembled right where our headquarters was. And then that's where you see the difference of flight or flight, right? And you saw guys that were like, what's going to happen? They're asking 1,000 questions, and, you know, they're NCOs. That's where they come into play, and they're calming them down. Guys are dead silent. And then there's guys that are taking naps, you know what I mean? Just waiting for your orders. Then you have me just jacked up. I was like, my adrenaline when I was there, my resting heartbeat was like 130, I believe. You know, we were smoking 2 packs a day at one point. You know, your adrenaline, you're jacked up. And then at that point, we go into, like, you know, game time. You know what I mean? Like, this is what we signed up for. Allegedly, there was, I don't know, a couple thousand or surrounding around Taji. Some say there was only a couple hundred. Union 3 actually got the most action. They actually saw like a wave of people coming down on that street. And they said there were thousands and thousands of people that were about to overrun them. They were going to be absolutely screwed. There's details I can't talk about Union 3, but I know I for sure can't talk about certain things. Union 3, there's the bird, you know the bird that's like, I forget the name of it. But essentially it's like the one that has all the guns on it and all the, like, it has the full artillery. They say like there's people that will serve 20, 30 years and never see that bird. They saw it. It was hovering right above them. And I mean, it never got activated, but they were ready to blast away.
Is that the MH6 little bird?
It might be. I'd really have to ask one of my buddies. But so essentially it got hot and intense that night. And after that bird came down, allegedly they all ran. That's when they ran. And then we kind of got into a defensive position that was kind of extra. But I mean, at that point, you know, we had our sectors in case our base was overran. Our first sergeant ran down to headquarters. And then we got on eat, sleep, and that was it. Until we were waiting for next orders. And then that was kind of like, you know, why I went dark with my family. And then that's literally all we did. We'd go to La Hague. I mean, next up, I mean, we thought next up was like, we're going to Iran. You know what I mean? We're just waiting for that call of like, we're going here in Iran. We're going to attack here. We're going to jump here. You know what I mean? And so like, it was wild. And then this is why I believe in Trump. This is why I believe when he says he wants peace. It might have been 48 hours after that missile strike. I really don't remember that kind of time is foggy, but I was at the chow hall. It was like dinner, and you could hear a pin drop. It was the sickest silence, eerie. It was, you could just hear fear. You could hear like rage. You could just hear, like, without a word being said. And then it was on the TV. We're sitting down eating, and then Trump just kind of goes, The other night we got hit by Iranian missile strikes. And he kind of tells the world what happened, right?
Yeah.
And then he goes, we want peace talks, we don't want war, right? I 100% believe that was the response, because not a single American was hurt or American soldier.
Wow. That's the difference.
That was the difference. I 100% believe that down to my core. I believe if an American would have been hurt, one of our soldiers, one of our guys would have got hurt, I believe it would have been a total different situation. Our defense, our air defense, actually, they shot something like 3 dozen missiles out of the sky, and only like a couple hit. And that's why I believe Trump, there's wants peace in this world, and I'm still here to it. Our mission was a success. There's more story about that. I'm not going to go in. But yeah, it was wild.
Thanks for that. That's a sick story. And I mean, a bunch of people said thank you for your service. I mean, yeah, God bless. That's sick. I think we got time for one more story, but we'll hit like the rest we don't hit tomorrow. You guys pick. You want to talk about Elon and the potential Nazi slogan thing?
That's a non-starter.
Okay, Pete Hegseth's ex-wife. Dems complaining about January 6 pardons. Maybe only 2 have been released so far. TikTok negotiation. Trump said it could be worth $1 trillion. And then the WHO. Which one are you guys feeling?
I'm cool with everyone. Hold on. To be honest, I'm kind of looking at the chat. Appreciate you guys. Thank you. Appreciate you. Sorry. Keep going.
No, okay. Yeah, you're good. Chat, what do you guys think? Humberto, anything stick out that you'd want to hit?
I told you. We talk about the who I'm leaving.
Okay. And then the who it is.
Not the band. Great band, by the way.
Who be saying we could beat them Saints? Who that? Who that? Remember that?
Yeah. Or wait, Pete Hegseth, maybe.
No, you were so decisive on that.
I am decisive on the who.
Like tomorrow, it'll be irrelevant by tomorrow. Pete Hegseth is still developing, I think.
Okay.
All right, so let's see. Trump, WHO.
I love when he gets handed the order. He goes like, "Oh, this is a big one."
That's a big one.
That's a big one.
And
There you go.
he's got
Yeah.
He's got 2 phones on his desk and everything.
Yeah. Oh, here she is. She wants attention.
Man, what a time to be alive.
I know. This is why I stayed up all night last night.
You played it a couple of times. I
Yeah.
can't get enough
Yeah.
of this video.
Want slow motion?
Yeah.
We paid $500 billion to World Health, and I terminated. China with 1.4 billion people. We have 350 to pay. We have nobody.
I can't really hear it.
So many people came.
Can't hear it?
No, very faintly.
Yeah, that's a weird one. The way he cut it. Let me find a better one. Actually, I cut a bunch of these up. Let me see if I can do it that way. But yeah, the way he breaks it down is pretty, compelling. Here we go.
Withdrawing from the World Health Organization.
Ooh.
So we paid $500 million to World Health when I was here, and I terminated it. China with 1.4 billion people. We have 350 to pay. We have, nobody knows what we have because so many people came in illegally, but let's say we have 325. They had 1.4 billion. They were paying 39 million. We were paying 500 million. It seemed a little unfair to me. So that wasn't the reason, but I dropped out. To come back for 39 million. In theory, it should be less than that, but and when Biden came back, they came back for 500 million. He knew that you could have come back for 39 million. They wanted us back so badly, so we'll see what happens.
Oh, it's so sick.
All right, Brandon.
Yeah.
Just to put in perspective. All right.
Okay.
Guess who's the number 1 on the list?
For what? Oh, for who pays for it?
Yeah.
Us.
Who pays the most? All right. How much money?
Well, didn't you just say 500?
No, they came for 500, but they actually paid 236 million.
Okay.
All right. Second,
Is it Bill and Melinda Gates?
no, it's China.
Okay. Bill and Melinda Gates are up there, all right?
57 million.
Okay.
That's the
Japan.
closest. That's the closest to us.
Yeah, it's not even
Highest.
close. That's the closest. Japan, 41 million. Germany, 29 million. United Kingdom, 21 million. France, 21 million. Italy, 11 million. Blah 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 blah. All the way down, and then the rest of the countries they spend like 2 million on the thing. So if you see it, basically, the America is handling most of the burden. All that money goes to the most disgusting branded.
The NGOs.
It goes to the most disgusting bureaucrats that if they try to be such pieces of crap, bureaucrats here, because we have a bunch, but they're not as bad. Like they'll be fired.
They're like globalist socialists.
I mean, Tedros, the guy that runs the whole deal, he's not even a doctor, Brandon.
I know.
And they call him Dr. Tedros. He's a communist. He's a sworn communist.
Just like the guy who runs the UN.
A communist guerrilla fighter. All right? The whole UN is just terrible. It's terrible.
Oh, it's a globalist vessel. That's like everything they do is for the furtherment of globalism. I'm totally against the existence of the UN, so I'm glad that this is happening. It's a step in the right
Brandon,
direction.
Anyone that believes in democracy should be against the UN. All right?
Yeah.
Because we have a super government, the top of our government, that wants to dictate the way we live, the way we do things. They were very successful during the pandemic to tell us what to do.
Yeah, what the hell is
that? And nobody gets voted in, Brendan.
No.
So we're paying for it and we have no say on it. So fuck those guys.
And the
all right?
shit they
Just on
tried to
those
pass. Remember the thing they tried to pass where like they...
What is? Oh, go ahead.
No, just were you gonna say what is it?
I mean, essentially, what it started out, it was pure intention, but what it ended up being was a total different beast.
Oh no! It started with really bad intentions.
Yeah, the UN kind of started with bad intentions too.
Like the League of
Think so?
Nations, you can argue the League of Nations
yep.
after World War I, you can argue that had noble intentions behind it, still against it.
Woodrow Wilson's idea, so probably
Yeah,
not.
Probably not. All right. But the UN is a communist cesspool since day one, since inception. It's the worst thing that ever happened to the planet. They've been trying to fix poverty and hunger in Africa for the last 40 years, and they haven't done it.
It's worse.
They've been trying to stop wars for the last 40 years. They haven't stopped a single war. They're trying to make everyone healthy with the World Health Organization, and more people got killed during the pandemic. So we need to get rid of it and stop it and stop funding those disgusting European bureaucrats because there's no point to it.
You say bureaucrat funny, but no, I 100% agree with you.
That's how you say it in French, Brandon.
Okay. No, I 100% agree with you. Like all these international organizations would be nothing without us. Like NATO would be nothing without us. The UN would be nothing without us. The WHO's going to be nothing without us. So, like they live and die with us, but then they have the audacity to try to tell us what to do. Like NATO tries to put pressure on us saying like, oh, we need you to spend more money. Like, motherfucker, you wouldn't be able to exist without our money. Same thing with the WHO.
Can I pull this comment? Very good comment.
Yeah.
China runs the UN. All right, Brandon, let me. Have you pulled up the Human Rights Council of the UN?
Let's do it now.
Brandon, they're all Saudi Arabia is the Human Rights Council, China's in the Human Rights Council, Venezuela's in the Human Rights Council. Like all these countries that are the worst at human rights.
The ones that are in charge of it?
They're in charge of it.
That's great.
This is like leaving your dog watching the brisket. You know what I mean? You know that she's gonna be gone.
Where are these people? Am I on the right page?
Let me. This might because everything. If you've been to his website, that I done deep research.
Yeah.
About the UN, it's so difficult to navigate this website. You never get straight answers.
Well, the guy who leads the thing is a confirmed socialist. The what's his name? Gutierrez guy.
Yeah.
So there's that. Conduct participants.
Well, last time Trump was in, I mean, he cut a lot of the money that we gave, didn't he? If I'm correct, he like cut back the amount of money we were going to contribute. He called them out for not being an equal payout for everybody. He called them out on a lot of stuff.
Not paying their 3%. That was the viral clip he had with the guy that was the head of NATO. He's like, It's like Germany's only paying 1%, and they're buying oil from Russia. But then we got guys here to protect Germany from Russia, but then Germany's buying oil from Russia. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
like we're not going to put up with it anymore.
He, I mean, like this is, I don't remember if it was a UN thing, but essentially, I think it was Sweden or Greenland back in the day that got all this money. I believe it was from the UN for being the most green nation. Like they were not going to they were against deforestation and all these things. And then it came to find out they got all these awards, they got all this money. And then it came out there was some a reporter who like risked his life and went deep in there and like he called them out on all their bullshit with pictures and proof that they were not like green. They were still doing deforestation and all these other things that they had agreed on when they were going green, and then they didn't.
You want to know what the UN's a vessel for? It's a vessel for stuff like this called the you ever hear of the Club of Rome Limits to Growth?
No. Is that a UN project?
Yeah, so the Club of Rome is like an NGO type of thing, and they put out this report like in 1972, basically saying that there's too many humans in the world, not enough food, not enough resources, and we need to slow industrial growth to like in order to have enough resources. So they intentionally like put out this environmental propaganda, say that we need to use like solar instead of gas, instead of oil. Because the more energy you have and the cheaper your energy is, the faster your economy is going to grow, and like the more people you're going to have in your society.
Mm-hmm.
So they've been intentionally trying to stunt growth since 1972, and that's what the UN's doing. Like the UN, same thing. It's like they try to bankrupt countries, prevent them from having like fuel efficient resources, like whether it's nuclear energy or like even gas, like or oil. They'll go to another country and like take their gas and natural gas and their oil, and now let the country have it.
Oh yeah, I think it ties into also what we were all saying about earlier is that is that prime example of Europe just slowly being a leech, and taking us for our money while we're getting more and more debt.
They're all leeches. They're all
leeches.
Out of all the fair trade agreements that we have with countries.
Oh yeah, it's all in their favor, not
There's only two countries. The thing is Singapore and Chile. They're the only two countries.
How'd Chile get suckered out of? How'd they get suckered out of it when everybody else swindled us?
Well, because we produce actual product. We produce copper.
Yeah.
And we actually sell copper for a profit for everyone.
Okay.
But China is 4x what they get from us that what we get from them. Is unbelievable.
Yeah. It's like $1 trillion trade deficit.
$1 trillion. You know what that is? That's crazy. If we fix a deficit in 36 years, we will have like a balanced spreadsheet. Like this is unbelievable. Like they're straight up communist. And if Trump pulls out, I swear to God, Brandon. No, I won't swear to God because it's blasphemy. But I promise you, I will get a full blown Donald Trump tattoo on my back.
So real quick, one, I'll hold you to that. But two, so this is kind of what. Remember yesterday we talked about how it was out there about how we were really looking into why didn't Trump put his hand on the Bible?
Yeah.
Actually, he did the right Christian thing to do.
What's that?
It is actually, I saw a whole video and a guy broke it down. It says in our Bible that you should never put your hand on the Bible or your word. It's the same. Putting your hand on the Bible is the same thing as saying, I swear to God. You should just be able to lean on your word as truth and saying yes or no. So putting your hand on the Bible is actually blasphemy.
Oh, wow.
Which means that he's been doing a deep dive then if he's that deep with it.
Yes. So that means he really is getting,
like it or not.
Yeah, he's been more involved, actually. He paid respects by them being present, both the Bibles. But he did the right Christian thing to do by actually not putting your hand on the Bible. I actually looked it up. It's actually in the Bible. I forget the verse. Didn't write it down, but it is legit. It's the same thing as saying swear to God. You should never
That's
never
a gold
swear
nugget, Cam. I like it.
Nice. Yeah, good finds.
Yes.
Wow. Well, thanks guys. This show's been lit. We only got through like half the stuff. I think the stuff we didn't get to is still gonna be just as relevant tomorrow.
Piling up, man.
I know. I love it though. I love it. And it's unlike before, like, I mean, when Biden won it, like, there's still a lot of shit to talk about, but it was all depressing and like frustrating to talk about. This is exciting and exhilarating. So, you know, it's good.
I won't be able to get on tomorrow, but I'll be on Thursday night.
All right, cool. Well, thank you everybody for watching. We love you as always. Thank you, Cam. Thank you, Humberto. And we'll see you guys later. Good night.
Come on, give
God
the
bless.
outro. Give the outro.
Oh, yep.
Put it
Gotta
up.
remember
Come
that.
on now. Come on, baby. Give it to me. I should ice me up. Come on.
Let's see.
You were getting cocky about it yesterday, Brandon.
Oh yeah, he was. Yeah.
I kept thinking I was like on the button.
He
Boom.
went 0-2.
All right. And goodbye. Love you all. Here we go. You know, we talk about the deep state. We talk about the globalists.
Inflation versus deflation. Well, I mean,
Here at Mar-a-Lago.
I'm baffled that this isn't front page news.
Do you guys support a specific political party, or do you dislike both of them?
Oh, it worked like a charm on you guys.
Let's go, Brandon.